Well, what is up? What is poppin', my people? I am joined today by my good friend David at David Talks Broncos, who was kind enough to join me after just doing a David Talks Buffs. Check out that channel. Some breaking news on the CU Buffs front, and so he's doing a double shift with me right now, man. But a couple. I think it was 2 weeks ago we did your top 5 wish list.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember my top 5. Yeah, it's been a long 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's been 2 weeks, and
a lot's happened. A lot's happened. Of course, rest in peace, Kyron Lacey.
I know it's an awful story.
Terrible stuff. And since I published my Isaiah Bond video, man, did he get like a DUI or something? So like he's or domestic violence. So
yeah,
he should be off the Broncos board. A lot's changing, man.
A lot is changing, and I wouldn't be surprised when we got 10 days left till the draft, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot more changed till then, man.
Yeah,
there's probably going to be a lot, but Kodiak is always one of the goats. Go make sure you follow him. He's in the chat saying raw. He's pumped. Victory lap. Thanks for joining, man. You finally caught the live, my man.
Yes, let's go. I
appreciate y'all. Everybody in the channel, and so I guess it's my turn to do my top 5. I kept going, man. I just kept going back and forth with this list, and I was like, all right, I think I'm ready. I just don't want to waste any more brain space on it. But thank you for joining, and now it's your time to critique me and talk to me about how stupid my top 5 list is.
Well, I can't wait because I think I would change my top 5 right now. So this is going to be fun to react to.
Nice. All right. Well, maybe you know what? Maybe we could just make it. Maybe you can just sneak your new top 5 list in here, or we can save that for the day before the draft type of stuff. But I will say before I get into this, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I said, let's roll with yours. Get into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we will. So I was thinking for me, I mean, couple notes before I get into like my top 5 list is it's hard because it's like, man, there's some guys like, for example, Matthew Golden, he definitely would be on my top 5 list and very, very high up there. But I don't think he's going to be there.
I don't think he is either.
I think there's 2 guys on this list that might not also, but Matthew Golden, I kind of feel higher than 50-50 shots. So I did want to preface by saying that, because if we end up getting him and then I'm all fired up, everybody's like, you didn't even have him on your top 5 while you're talking. which happens. So, all right. Are you ready to get it? Christmas is now only 10 days away. Yeah. Kodiak said it perfect. The draft is my Christmas. At least it is, for me. So
can't wait. And by the way, I think Judson Cake was on our last collab, so it will be cool to have his reaction to this as well.
Yeah. All right, Justin. Yeah. So Judson's gonna have to let us know, who's top 5 he likes more and why. But let's dive right into it. We'll start with number 5, and that is Mr. Kenneth Grant. Now, I was going back and forth a lot because I'm at the point now where I really just want to get Bo Nix a weapon. So that's why I have a defensive guys a little bit lower on this list. But Kenneth Grant, man, he's interchangeable with the next guy at number 4. To be honest with you, like I'm kind of at the same tier with both of them. But he's an unbelievably good player, and I think he was overshadowed a lot by Mason Graham being there. But this dude is dominant. And what really stuck out to me, the funniest thing is I watched so much Ohio State football. I never thought I'd watch as much Ohio State football, just going with like Quinshawn and TreVeyon and Egbuka, which I dropped the video for today. But the game against Ohio State, where Michigan ended up upsetting them, was crazy. And it was because Kenneth Grant, dude, and Mason Graham, but really Kenneth Grant, they were just clogging up the runs, dominating that offensive line. Quinshawn and TreVeyon really couldn't get anything going. It stifled the whole offense. And so that as a whole just got me with Kenneth Grant. Obviously, we know the needs and how important it is to continue with the defensive line for the Broncos. But really, for me, it was just I just really want more offensive firepower, because I know our defense is really set. But I could 100% get behind defensive line depth being drafted, because it's such an important position, the way that we always rotating guys and all that. So what do you think about number 5 with Kenneth Grant?
Well, obviously, I'm a big fan of Kenneth Grant. I like my defensive players big, strong, explosive, and he's one of those guys, right? I do have a question for you, Mark, because some people, including our good friend Andy, he's been maybe a little less bullish, I think, on Kenneth Grant than maybe we are. I think he's brought up maybe a little bit of concern that he has about him being 340, 350 pounds, playing at altitude for half the season. What are your thoughts on that? Have we, wasn't Terrence Knighton a big guy? Wasn't he good for us? But can you name any other abnormally large beings we've had play for the Denver Broncos over the years that might give some comfort to those concerned with possible conditioning issues?
Yeah, I mean, I don't put too much stock into that, to be honest with you. I feel like the 340, 350 pound athletes it's not as common anymore in the NFL. And a lot of it, like, for example, he was, and somebody said it in the chat. Let me go back here. It was Anthony Tadero. He said he's 330 now. He did weigh in at 331 at the combine. And I feel like with NFL strength and conditioning programs, the way that these guys, and you have to also remember, getting out of the college life and going into, a situation where you have a lot more money, you have a lot more stability, it's going to be a lot easier for these guys to keep weight off. And the fact that he's 6'4", has got a little bit of a longer frame. I feel like I don't really have concerns about him playing at a heavier weight. I don't think he's going to be playing at 340. I think he'll probably be close to the 325, 330 mark. And then a lot of the times you hear about guys in the NFL specifically, they kind of lose weight as the season goes on. So I'm not overly concerned, man. I mean, I look at it too. Like, for example, DJ Jones, right? DJ Jones is a fat dude. And
DJ Jones, they say he's only 305. I don't buy that one bit.
Well, and the thing is, he's 6 foot tall, 305. So, and Kenneth Grant is 6'4", 331. And there's this math problem we used to do when I was getting my degree in exercise science. It sounds a lot cooler than it actually was. But basically, you could just take your body weight per inch, and if you did it with them, if DJ Jones were to be 6'4", he'd be about the same weight, probably even a little bit heavier.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Not overly concerned.
Why am I not even thinking of this, man? Managing players' weight in the year 2025 is no big deal because we got Ozempic now.
And yes, dude, that's true. And it's being given out like crazy. I don't think it's banned in the NFL. So actually, that's a good question.
Go, man. Yeah, I
wonder if it is banned in the NFL. But you could get Ozempic, no problem. He could probably play a tight end for you in a year.
Yeah, we should have no overweight players, dude, in the era of Ozempic, man.
Of Ozempic, that's a good point, dude. I mean, I'm down. I think that you put Kenneth Grant on an Ozempic program, and he could probably play two ways, like Travis Hunter, bro. He could be a defensive lineman, and then he'll have some snaps at tight end, or as an extra tackle or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not overly concerned about the weight thing for him, especially because he moves really good for his size, man. And he played quite a bit of snaps for Michigan, and he's got a pretty good motor.
I'm not concerned about his weight.
So, Andy, our question to you for your concern is Ozempic. That's the answer. That's how we do it. And somebody said here that we should recap David's top 5.
Yeah, I put it in the chat. I just remembered.
Yeah, Grant, Hampton, no, he didn't do Grant twice.
Whoops, my dumbass. Harmon, Derrick Harmon at number 3. So it was Grant, Omarion Hampton number 2, Derrick Harmon at number 3, Colston Loveland 4, Egbuka 5.
That's crazy, man. We're almost flipped on a lot of things. So my number 5 was your number 1, and now my number 4 is we got this one close. My number 4 is Derrick Harmon.
Let's go. Let's go.
A lot of the similar reasons I listed it with Kenneth Grant. I like his upside a tiny bit more because I think he gives you more pass rushing prowess, somebody that can really develop. And I feel like there's a pretty big ceiling with him still. But just a super good player. And I love his teammate, Jamari Caldwell, who did come in for a top 30 visit today. But
Another big
Derrick Harmon,
guy.
man, what I noticed about him, and it was somebody that pointed this out. It wasn't me that like noticed it, but I forgot who it was. It was one of the maybe the NFL Stock Exchange guys or one of the guys that I like to follow a lot. They said his late game snaps, like the way he plays in the fourth quarter, is like the same or even more aggressive than it is in the first. And then I went back and you can totally tell, like it's very Zach Allen like with the Broncos. Like the dude just seems like his conditioning is legit. He's always going with like crazy amount of effort, and you just love to see it. And I thought he killed it at the combine. So those are probably spoiler alert, but those are my two top lineman wishes for the Broncos defensive side.
Man, I love Derrick Harmon, man. I love the way that he plays. Anthony is saying it here in the chat. We're all thinking this. He can play, I think, all the positions on the defensive line. Like,
no doubt.
In this defense, incredible versatility. And, like I like his motor. I think that it seems like some people are concerned about his ability to finish. Like, really good penetrator. Can find that hole, baby. But when it comes to finishing, struggles.
That's not always a bad thing.
Yeah. Right. Not always a bad thing, man. But I understand that's probably why he's not going top 10. Like, I'm not worried about that. Also, I've seen some criticism around him just kind of being a strange looking individual in terms of how his body's built. He kind of has a pudgy
little top heavy.
Yeah, little top heavy, but it's like just his belly, and then you see he doesn't have like super wide shoulders or anything. I do not care. I do not care. I love the way that he moves on film, man.
Yeah, and he's got ridiculously long arms, 34 and 3/8, and he has literal baseball mitts almost his hands. Like Omar Norman Lott makes everyone look small because I think he hit 11 inches, but 10 and 3/8 inch hands is huge. I mean, he's a massive guy. And yes, I mean, guys, you have to understand, even in the era of NIL money, you're in college, you're drinking all the time, you're eating like shit in dorm rooms or the cafeteria. Like a lot of these guys, man, they're like from a physical standpoint, they're not even close to how they're going to be in the NFL, especially once teams kind of get a vision for them. So I'm not overly concerned about that at all. I think, he's someone that you can get in better shape and get way stronger too. So
I did want to point this out. These guys are coming from programs where the expectation is sky high. And while Oregon did not win the national championship, still one of the most winning programs in recent time right now. And national champion Kenneth Grant. So I like that. These guys have already played in high pressure programs.
Yeah. It's and that's something that I think is so damn important. But I mean, the dude had 43 quarterback hurries on his PFF grade, which is ridiculous. And he did get, he got 5 sacks, but 43, that's a huge bump. And that's basically, I mean, almost 10% of his pass rush sets, or like total snaps, not even pass rush sets. He was pressuring the quarterback. And if you're taking about pass rush sets, it's like 15% of every snap he took. He was at least getting a quarterback hurry or, kind of collapse in the pocket. So he was really wreaking a lot of havoc. And that's a really, really high number for an interior guy. But yeah, the inside out versatility is awesome. I think he could play. He can rotate in at nose tackle on pass rushing downs if you need to. He can rotate on the outside to stop the run as a 3 tech, and I think he'll fit in like a glove, man. So
and he came from Houston, so he's got that dog in him.
Mm-hmm. He does. The Houston program I feel like they developed a lot of guys, and everybody's like, "Peace."
They all just left, yeah.
But there was a lot of good ones that came from there. Seems like
totally.
They got to figure it out in basketball, though. It seems like, except for
except for winning,
except for the late game situations. But all right, so this next one might be a little bit controversial. Somebody was like, let's not do any, what were they saying? I don't know. They were saying something like they didn't want any like crazy. I don't even know what the wordage was. Anyways, but my number 3 pick is Jayden Higgins.
Dude, let's go.
I keep getting higher and higher on this dude. I just feel like he's the best receiver in this draft as a pure X receiver, as somebody that is, very much like what Sean Payton looks for in terms of size and speed combinations. Reminds me a ton of, I think it was you that brought it up. DT coming out,
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, like very similar body type. I think he's more athletic than Cortland Sutton. But I just the more I think about it, I love the idea of him working alongside Cortland, and then also in the future, eventually replacing Cortland. I think it's a win-win in both. Like they could both be great. Cortland's here for another 5 years. Awesome. He can be really productive in those years. If eventually we move on from Cortland Sutton, I think he could be a really good replacement. But super twitchy athlete, man. He's legit. Both of the Ohio State guys. Jalen Noel is really good. I was impressed with both of them, but I love the fit. I would take him in a heartbeat at 20. And I want to know what you think, man.
I love that you're planting your flag on Jayden Higgins. I knew you'd probably get some pushback on this one if you made it into your top 5. But he was like right on the edge of, I ended up just going with Egbuka because he's a national champion in like some things like that. But man, Jayden Higgins, I think he's fantastic. And I think he's one of the more complete wide receivers and kind of a strange wide receiver class this year in the draft. I think things change for Cortland if we draft somebody like him. I would wonder if we even look to extend Cortland if we bring in somebody like Jayden Higgins. And while you have teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, having like, $300 million committed to 2 wide receivers, it is pretty enticing, Marky, to think about us just having no high paid wide receivers and being able to build like the most dominant defense of all time, keep our offensive linemen, and go that direction. That is kind of tantalizing to think about.
I think it's one of the smartest ways to build a team, man. I mean, anytime, you invest in the positions that have a lot of value, right? D-line, O-line, quarterback, obviously, but, the pass rushers and, basically the quarterback, the guys that can protect the quarterback and the guys that can get after the quarterback. And then everything else, you just kind of rotate out. I mean, it was just a few years ago, we had the highest paid wide receiver room in the league. Now things have changed a lot since then. But just a couple years ago, we had no quarterback, and it did us no good. And all these guys did is like it was completely worthless. But now, now with a young quarterback with Bo, I think that I think Jayden Higgins is going to be a really good player. I'm actually at the point now. You hear it's funny because you hear every single like expert talk very highly about him, but you don't hear a lot about Jayden Higgins in general, and that usually tells me he's probably going to end up sneaking into the first round somehow. I would be surprised at this point if he's not like a tail end of the first draft of the first round pick, because it's such a weird draft this year too. It takes one team to fall in love with him and they'll be able to take him. But this guy doesn't drop the ball, man. He really doesn't. 2.2% drop rate. It's ridiculous. He's been incredibly durable throughout his college career. He's been consistent everywhere that he's been. He's just a really good player, dude. Like I'm a big fan of his. And yes, I would take him at 20 in an ideal scenario. Maybe we trade back a few picks. We get an extra second or a third, and then we end up taking him, at 28 or 26 or whatever. That's fine. But if you're fine taking him, on a move back in 28, even without getting the additional pick, I would still be fine with us taking them at 20, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's maybe he's not like talked about one of the top guys, I guess, because you can say he isn't like elite, I guess, at certain things, but like what's there not to love about him? Like
exactly my point.
Pretty complete route tree coming out of Iowa State. Like he's going to make fine transition to the NFL, big catch radius. He's tall, he's big, he's strong, he's a good blocker. He doesn't drop the ball. He'll get the contested catches. I just don't. If you don't like Jayden Higgins, just let me know why. Like I'm trying to figure out why people don't like him.
Exactly. I mean, even with the whole Ted McMillan thing, I mean, right? All the off the field stuff aside, like before, everybody was like, he's a surefire top 10 pick. He's dynamic. He's the only true X receiver. And I'm like, what can Tet do that's better than Jayden Higgins? I really can't even see it on tape. Yes, he had more yak, on tape, but he also like that. He was also kind of used more like that. But Jayden Higgins, in my opinion, is faster. He's quicker. He tested better, significantly better. I don't know. I'm in the same boat as you, man. I just feel like he checks off all the boxes, and he seems to love ball. Like he's like, even in games where they're getting their ass kicked, he's really firing his team up. Big time team leader. I'm just a big fan of his, man. I grew into liking him more and more, every time I watched him.
Yeah. I like both him and Jalen Noel, man. It'd be cool if we could get both of them. We'll need to get more picks, but his people are being quiet about him. And I like that take about him sneaking into the first. I think if we were to trade back, and we get somebody like this in the first, that would be pretty sweet, man.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. So that's kind of my plant the flag dude in this list. The other two are not going to be shockers to anybody, but anybody that watches my channel knows it would be a shock if I had a running back in the top 5 list, but I don't. I continue to talk about how running backs don't belong in the first round. I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. But now that the fact that I'm saying it so much, dude, we're going to like trade up and get a running back. Just watch. Anyways, that's besides the point. My number 2 is Colston Loveland, and this one was tough between him and number 1. Because I love Colston Loveland. I think he is dynamic. And then there was a report, of course, that came out like maybe 30 minutes after I completed this that said, and I think it was from Daniel Jeremiah, and he said, the league consensus seems to be that, there's not a lot of consistent opinions on a lot of players in this draft, but Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren are the clear top 2 tight ends. Some teams have like Colston at 1 and Tyler at 2, and that most of them believe that they're both top 10 picks. So that being said, he's probably not going to be there at 20 either, if that's the case. I think tight ends in the first round are becoming much more common in this day's NFL, because the NFL is starting to adopt using tight ends like they're used in college instead of just being straight blockers. So if he's there, it would be a shock to me, but I don't know about Colston Loveland, man. But where do you stand on him? I feel like we got a lot of Colston Loveland fatigue early, and then we signed Evan Ingram, and then that kind of cooled. So where are you at? Where are you at now with him?
Yeah. Any, like, how old is Evan Ingram? Like 29 or 30, like
30, I think.
You should not be skipping on, if you see him as the best talent, you should not skip on him because of a 30-year-old you got on your team. Absolutely not. Yeah. I like Colston Loveland, man. Winner, coached hard. I think this was interesting. Somebody said they felt like, well, I guess he kind of does remind you a little bit of Travis Kelce. That's how I felt. I heard another guy say Tyler Warren reminds him of Gronk, maybe in some ways. But
I don't think
like those are like the Gronk, 2. Man. Say what?
I don't think anybody's like Gronk. Yeah, Gronk was different.
He's his own beast, but those are the 2 guys that I totally feel would be worth it. Oh, the other one was somebody comped him, I read, to Sam Laporta. So if we're drafting Sam Laporta here, man, I'm totally down with that. And again, Sam Laporta and the new slot king, Amon-Ra St. Brown, both of them coexist. So if Sean Payton can't figure out how to use 2 guys in the slot, Evan Ingram and whoever, that's on him. But it has been done, and it would be nice to have a set it and forget it tight end, for the next 15 years, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for me too, man, is like we're one Evan Ingram injury away from, again, having the worst room in the league. I think Colston Loveland is just so damn good. I think he's dynamic. I was really hoping that the shoulder injury, like he had surgery over the offseason, I was hoping maybe just the fact that he's not testing and all that could tank his stock a little bit, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. But yeah,
I feel like he's going to go top 20.
Yeah, I think he's going to be gone ultimately before our pick. But we'll see. I mean, if he's there, I would snag him in a heartbeat. and it'd be nice to not allow for him to go to the Chargers either. Which it seems like if he's available at 20, we don't take him. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, big Colston Loveland fan. William had asked, how about Luther Burden the third? What do you think about Luther Burden?
I mean, he's cool. What is he? 6 foot, right? We talked about him last time. He's taller than I expected. Plenty dynamic, but I don't know if I don't know if I buy like the character concerns. Like, I don't know if he has legitimate character concerns. I think some people have criticized him for his certain effort level when he hasn't been involved at certain times in the game, which I feel like 90% of wide receivers are going to be that way. So I'm not like, I don't have him in my top 5 because I think he's a character concern. I just don't think he's that way. But I think he could be kind of similar to what we have with Marvin Mims right now. I think that the longer I get into this, I want to be finding our X. I want to find our X in this year's draft.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think that I like Luther Burden too, man, and I think that the mentioning the Marvin Mims is really smart. I think he's really good. I think that he's dynamic. I don't think he's a very polished receiver, but I think a team is going to love like the different ways that they can utilize him. Like I think even of Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay. Like I think the Rams at 26 taking Luther Burden would be super intriguing to go along with Puka and how different they are and the way that Luther Burden can be used there. But with Denver and what we're looking for, I think we need somebody that's just more solid, a little bit tougher, can make catches across the middle, and be a little bit more polished in the route running. I don't think that the fit's necessarily quite there. Which and then Anthony here says Mizzou is awful. I mean, do we really want to keep drafting Missouri players like on all Denver sports, right? We drafted Drew Lock, he sucked. We drafted MPJ. He just pisses me off basically every time the Nuggets play. Have we ever, as a Missouri player, ever gone well for us? I can't think of one that like, oh yeah, we drafted that guy from Mizzou in any sport, not whether it be in the NBA or in NFL. I can't think of any. So
yeah, dude, Mizzou sucks.
That's high. That's high level. That's high level scouting right there. It's never happened with a guy from Mizzou, so we
just got a bad culture there.
Yeah, I guess so. Something, but and that brings me. So for all the reasons that Luther Burden is not on my top 5 list is, the reasons why Emeka Egbuka is my number 1.
Wow.
And I think I chose him over Colston Loveland because I just love to say his name a little bit more. I think that was what tipped the scale for me, because I feel like the way that they would both affect the offense is actually pretty similar, even though one's a tight end, one's a wide receiver. But I mean, dude, when all you hear from anybody that's talking about Egbuka, whether it's his teammates or his coaches or people hearing other things from other coaches and, executives, everyone's saying the same thing. Ohio State doesn't win the national championship if it's not for him. He's one of the best teammates. He's one of the best leaders. He puts team first. That is obviously extremely important for Sean Payton. I love that. He's the all-time leading receiver in Ohio State history. That in and of itself just says it. And he does all the dirty stuff, man, all the dirty work. He's a great blocker, just lights people up. Actually, I'm gonna share one of the blocking videos that I got because it was crazy.
Ooh,
what he does.
Yeah, give me
see
some.
if I have it here.
Yeah. You know what? YouTube, as the YouTube highlight community, we gotta do better. But mainly they got to do better of just putting out blocking highlights of wide receivers. That's what we really want to see.
Yeah, it's hard to find some, man, to be honest with you. I forgot to put it under the Egbuka block thing.
Find some good blocks. Find some pancakes. I want to know who in this wide receiver class is a pancake machine.
Yeah, right? It's hard to find. Like, that's the thing, too, is like I feel like in college with a lot of these guys, like you don't they don't really ask a lot of receivers to block, but no. Ohio State they were a really fun offense to watch, man. Like whatever your opinion on Ohio State just in general is, they were really fun to watch this year.
I think this is a side note. I haven't done any quarterback content because why? But I think Kyle Howard's my quarterback 3 in this
Will
year's
Howard
class.
or
Or
Kyle
Will
Howard?
Howard. Yeah, not
Either
Kyle
one.
Howard. Yeah, sorry.
He's pretty good, and I haven't done any quarterback work either. But like I said, I watched so much of this. He's also made some like what seemed to be pretty boneheaded, but he has some dimes too. I think he's pretty decent.
Yeah.
But anyways, y'all can see. You see number 2 on the outside of the screen there, running after they gave Quinshon Judkins
Yeah,
the
right
block,
there in the corner on the
right?
left. Yep.
So
Number
check
2.
this out. Just watch him finish this, dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
I
some
mean,
nasty right there. For such a
he just
nice
says,
guy.
yeah, he just says, sit your ass down. And they do a lot of it, man. They do a lot of that type of put him in motion and kind of lead, like he was lead blocking a couple times. But another thing that really stands out to me is I keep thinking back to the Broncos. I say, okay, how does his game translate to the NFL? I think it translates really well. I think he has a really high floor. Then I think, what did the Broncos miss? The Broncos last year, they were like one of the worst in the leagues in 3-and-outs. They could rarely ever get the drives going. They didn't really have a lot of drive starter plays. That's what Emeka Egbuka is. He's the guy that gets a lot of those drive starters, man. Like he gets you the 5 to 7 yard hitch routes, kind of just gets open, makes tough catches across the middle. The short and intermediate routes is, a lot of that is where he wins. I think his game not only translates really well to the NFL, but I just love the fit in the Sean Payton offense. So for that reason, Emeka Egbuka is my number 1 on my top 5 draft wish list. And like I said, if Matthew Golden was available at 20, which I don't think he will be, it would be like 1A and 1B with those 2 guys.
Well, it's very rare you have the opportunity to draft a guy that I think does have wide receiver upside. With you never have to worry about him becoming a diva. I don't think you ever got to worry about that. Nope. National champion, incredible leader. The one thing, and I like Egbuka. The one thing that I am, there's just like the little devil on my shoulder saying this, man, is he too nice to have that true edge you need at the NFL level to become dominant? Like, do you just, that block? I think that's a good example to show that he does play with some meanness. But also, it's like, dude, are you really going to let, I don't care how good a true freshman is coming in there, are you going to let a true freshman come in there and, be that guy? Are you going to let Marvin Harrison Jr., man, get all the shine? I understand he's all about the team. He's a wonderful fit for Denver. Again, he's in my top 5. These might just be these are just some questions that I wonder. And maybe it's because like sometimes I can just get pissed off if I feel like guys are always just given the straight up perfect answer all the time. Like it kind of Marky. This might be triggering. Sometimes with how he talks to the media, dude, it reminds me of Russell Wilson.
Oh shit! Is it really? I haven't listened to that many interviews.
But
yeah.
Again, it's not as fake, right? But sometimes it's like, you see him blocking, right? You see him playing a different style than sometimes I feel like how he communicates to the media. There's like a disconnect there, or it's just like a different, version of him once the cleats come on. That I just do wonder, like, to be that guy in the NFL, you got to have some dog in you. And I think he does, which is why he's in my top 5. But there is a percentage of concern.
It's a good point. And I can totally understand it. And I think it's a little bit more difficult to judge somebody off their interviews, like in the pre-draft and combine process. But you make a really good point with that. Like in terms of like, he seemed like he was so okay just because like always being the Robin to a Batman, right? Is that kind of a thing too?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think it could be one of those things where it's like maybe he wasn't okay with it, but he's just like, this is what we got to do. And also, like, he was used primarily as a slot. And even though I believe he can win outside, because he was a slot, you're always going to have naturally somebody opposite of him, as an outside receiver. So it's like it kind of works. But I don't know, man. I mean, just he's got a lot of film things that you just love to see. Like, I mean, the effort, the way that he gets fired up, he knocks people out. He gets so pumped up for his teammates.
I feel
He
like
takes
him
pride
and
in
Bo
like
would really get
blocking.
along.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Big
and
time.
it's like, again, I'm not saying I wish he was a diva, right? Maybe I'm kind of sounding like this, but what I wish is like, I wish that he had pushed to play more outside, because I think he's good enough to play outside. And I
Mhm.
think one of the reasons he's going to be available to us, thankfully, at 20 is because he didn't play outside much.
Mhm.
But it's like those little things of just, yeah, Jeremiah Smith was there, Marvin Harrison Jr., all those guys, right? All incredible. But
Oh, and by the way,
but he
Jeremiah
was good
Smith is
enough,
going to be
just as
better
good as
than.
they were, to play outside. That's how I feel
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I can understand that, and that's it's a super interesting take, man. And it's a good point, because we could use a little bit more like dogs on the team in general, but especially on offense. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really have somebody that I feel like, man, who's I want to see somebody like Aqib Talib on the offense, like talk
Yeah.
that stuff and not necessarily get pushed around and
Emmanuel
all that.
Sanders was that guy,
Mhm.
and maybe Egbuka is kind of more, now that I think about it, in like that DT kind of role. Like, um, DT was a little bit more soft spoken, right? But just
Big
once the
time.
cleats hit the field, right? I mean, he was an absolute menace. Like,
Yeah.
he was that dude.
Uh-huh.
Um, But
He
yeah,
was.
we need a little bit more edge to the offense. Emmanuel Sanders is the last guy of memory I can think about that. Um, yeah, some people might say Jerry Jeudy, but they're absolutely wrong with that one. Um, I think what we do
Yeah.
need is more people vaping root beer. That's what our team needs more of on offense.
I was thinking we could get some sort of a sponsorship for the new stadium, or maybe the new training facility that they're building, of like some Nate Atkins root beer vapes, Malozzo root beer vape logo. But it might go against. I don't think we can actually market nicotine products, but I think it's a good idea. You need
I think
somebody.
there's a business opportunity there, man. It's only right for him, man. It's only right for him to come in and pitch that.
Straight up. And I'll tell you, man, I tried one of those root beer vape. It tastes exactly like root beer, which is kind of trippy. But if I was the head coach of an NFL team, man, and I found out one of my players was vaping root beer vape, yeah, I might suspend him, or he might get cut from my team. I don't know. That's just my
Yeah,
thought.
I was
If you
thinking
have bad
about.
judgment in that, then what else do you have bad judgment in?
Oh, well, I was thinking it was mainly a shit post I was thinking of until you asked me to come on, but I was thinking about doing a video about how um Nate Atkins should be involved more because of his root beer vape usage. Because with him vaping root beer, he was like better than Andy Janovich ever was for us, right?
22 Janos.
Yeah, yeah. So more root beer on the
Yeah,
team.
maybe, or maybe if he stopped smoking it, he would become like Rob Gronkowski, though. You
Right.
know what I mean? So who knows? Who knows? But Eli Betts coming through saying, "Are you guys planning on doing a live stream during the draft?" I don't even know what I'm doing during the draft yet. I know I'm going to be drunk, especially by pick 20. I get drunk every single year during the draft. That's like
I don't
my
know.
day. That's like the only day I drink alone the entire year, which is a good thing.
See, you don't have this problem, but I also have to like put out videos for like, I mean, we haven't had this problem with CU, but we will have 2 guys drafted in the first round. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not going to be 2. It's not going to be 2 guys. Come on now. So I do got to put out videos for wherever Travis and Shador go. Oh, I'm just praying neither of them land in Cleveland. God forbid both. So I'll probably just make videos, man. If there's one thing I've learned from doing the maybe if we get a whole bunch of us, I'd be more down to do it. But I don't have the
agree with that.
stamina for like a 4-hour event.
No, for sure not. And when I was on with Mike Carmelini when he came on to my After Dark Live, which was a blast, by the way. We just had like a bunch of people get on without even planning it. He had talked about doing something for the draft, and I loved his idea of it. Like, you have kind of guests on each show. Like, I could join a show for 5 minutes, kind of like a Manning cast,
Yeah.
for the draft. So that might be something that people are doing in the background. But I agree. I don't want to sit there for 4 hours and then I got to remember that I'm live and I'm sitting there like cussing or, picking my nose or some shit. I don't know what's going on, some crazy.
Can I tell you a story about Calvin Booth?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I think I already shared this with you in the Discord, but I'll let people know. The stories about Calvin Booth just like not having like the social awareness like to work with people like Michael Malone, just hiring that coach without his permission is not surprising. I was at Summer League this past year after Deron Holmes tore his Achilles. Straight up walking out the building, maybe 10 feet away from him. Dude is one knuckle deep up his nose, dude. Just straight up picking his nose. No care in the world. Just like this. In the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird to see a NBA executive doing that. He kind of lacks some social awareness, and I think that was his downfall.
Yeah, it could have been. There was my brother-in-law was telling me he saw him at Del Frisco's the other day, just like sitting there having lunch, chilling, like with no care after he got fired, no care in the world. But yeah, he was awful, and I'm glad he's out, but that whole situation with the Nuggets is crazy. Kudos to the Cronkies, man. They gained a little bit of respect for me as an ownership group. Maybe the Broncos having such a good ownership group has made the other owners like want to care a little bit more because they see how important it is. Because I swear to God, I've never heard Josh Kroenke speak in my entire life. And then over the last like week and a half, he's been talking a lot, and he actually seems like really smart. I'm not going to lie. I thought he was probably like a cokehead that was just like out of his mind, didn't know anything about football. Basketball.
Yeah, he's not John Bolin.
He's sharp. I'm like, then why the hell aren't you always doing this, dude? Like, you're good. And
he gave a great press conference today. I think again, this is a side note. Like, I think it's always legitimate criticism about the Cronkies with how they've done things in the past, or like, not spending into the second apron. Like, none of that is ideal. But they're good owners, man. Like, you could have, like, I wouldn't count them as bad owners. They win championships now. And they're about to knock off Real Madrid, man. Arsenal is. But I think he's still young to where he's learning too. And I think you're right that because remember, the Cronkies married in to the Walton family. So there might be a little family rivalry going on right now with how they're running their sports teams, which I think is good for everybody.
No, for sure. I think so. I mean, and even like, what's his name? Dick Monfort or whatever from the Rockies. He was like hyping up, oh, the Broncos got a great one in Greg Penner. And it's like, dude, you, first of all, like anything compared to you is probably better, but like, that'd be cool if the Penners just bought the Rockies.
I would love that to happen, man.
Because I would listen. I'm not a baseball fan at all, but I would love for the Colorado baseball to be like legit.
It's never made sense to me how they're not so good playing at altitude. Like, I know that means they probably give up more home runs, but that also means like, dude, you should be hitting dingers all the time.
Yeah, all the time, just banging them out. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So that was a cool little rabbit hole, but everyone cares but the Rockies organization is what Eli bets. Yeah, the Rockies organization is like, I will go out of my way to not spend money to support the Rockies. I just wish more fans were like that, but then again, like, I also get it because that's the only way that they would ever change is if people actually stop like spending the money. But anyways, I mean, so in terms of the draft, to answer the question, because that's kind of how we went down on it. I don't think I'll be doing anything specific for a couple reasons. Because I like to just like chill and look at it, and then I know we're gonna have the Discord is gonna be lit, and then know I just don't want to like get overwhelmed. But then there's also so many great local YouTubers that are not only like bigger channels than mine, but that are awesome. And it's like, let them do their thing. We could react to everything later. And if we, hop on as like a guest on channels or something, that'd be fun. But I just can't
Mark,
wait for the day.
Can I want to talk about your top 5 a little bit and how mine has changed.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
In my mind. So if you guys are tuning in right now, let's summarize. Top 5 from, Kenneth Grant, and Derrick Harmon, Jayden Higgins, Colston Loveland, and then Emeka Egbuka. I've started to think about this with Bo Nix, right? You kind of saw this with CJ Stroud this past year. But there are some very enticing defensive players available. But I think the main priority needs to be ensuring to the best of our ability that Bo Nix does not have a sophomore slump. Does not have a sophomore slump. We cannot take his production year 1 for granted. And so that's why in my new top 5, this is going to be hilarious. I'm going to move Omarion Hampton up to number 1 because the biggest thing that's going to help Bo Nix is having an amazing run game and a guy who's 6 feet that can catch, that can block, that's got vision. He's got burst. Maybe not the fastest guy compared to some of the other prospects, but I think you know what you're getting with him. You're going to get a very good running back. And if we do that in round 2, that's cool too. But having wide receivers or just receivers in general, whether that's at tight end or wide receiver or running back, these need to be the priority picks as long as the talent is there to justify it, because in this division, you cannot have Bo Nix slump at all.
That is true. That is true, even though I completely disagree with everything that you said. And it was only because I got so much love for you, man, and you've helped me so much with this YouTube stuff, and you've put me on your platform so many times. Had you not done that, I was getting ready to just hit you with a remove, use my power, taking you right off the stage, put you in timeout, or maybe muted you. But I was like, you know what? Let him have his thunder. No, but all jokes aside, I agree with you 1,000%. I think just not taking last year's performance from Bo Nix for granted and just thinking, oh, we're good. He's going to take that next level and we don't have to build around him. Like, no, you gotta give him as much talent as you possibly can. If the coaching staff and the front office feels like that's, Omarion Hampton, TreVeyon Henderson, or any of the guys on one of our lists, then man, I'm all in. I'm all in for that. And
I got another question for you, hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I think it's best we get as many day 2 and day 1 picks as possible. I mean, I doubt we get 2 first, but as many day 2 picks as possible.
Yep.
What do you feel like actually? Maybe we end the draft with 5 selections instead of 7, but we've been able to move up quite a bit. Maybe get a second, third from our 4th position or whatnot. Would you be okay with sacrificing the amount of picks for just having a higher selection?
Like targeted guys?
Yeah.
1,000%. 1,000%. It used to not be like that in the past because I felt like we were just so talent deprived and our depth was terrible. Not at all this year. I'm good with that. And I think all that would mean is that we're going to sign more undrafted free agents. I saw an article that said we have roster space up to 90 players, but we currently have 70. So we can add 20 more guys. Or at least that's what we're leaving open to be able to add from the draft and from undrafted free agency. So whether 7 of them are drafted or 5, I don't care. I'm all for moving up and going after very targeted players, especially if you feel like there's that threshold where 6th round picks and undrafted free agents you don't see much of a difference from. Then move up and get those guys that you feel like can fill the void more. So yeah. I mean, I'm all in for that.
Yeah. What if we had, I'm trying to think. Yeah. Our 1st round pick, our 2nd round pick, 2 3rd round picks, a late 4th, and like a 6th that we use on a punter.
I think that would actually be in this particular draft, like best case, because I feel like the day 2, man, like day 2 and day 3 is really where you can get a lot of value. If you can get as many picks, like I love the idea of trading back a little bit, getting probably an additional 3rd, hopefully like somehow a 2nd.
Yeah.
And then if you can come out of it with like, okay, you pick in the late 20s, early 30s, but then you have a 2nd round pick and then 2/3. So you basically have 4 picks in the top 100. I mean, I'm at the point where I might just be like, you know what, let's just put all of our resources into trying to accomplish that, like get 4 picks in the top 100 and then sign up just a punter and a bunch of random guys.
Yeah, and then again, remember, for Kodiak, we can sign Desmond Watson as a UDFA, and then we just put him on the Ozempic diet, man.
Oh, dude, we didn't even think about Ozempic for Desmond Watson, but that would kind of defeat the purpose with him, because I feel like what makes him so badass is the fact that he's literally 3 Emeka Egbukas in one, dude.
Dude, he's so large. Like he could be on like my 500-pound life.
Dude, I don't understand why a hockey team wouldn't sign someone like Desmond Watson as a goalie and just say, bro, just sit here. Right? Like with pads and all that.
Can he skate?
He doesn't need to skate. Like they're not gonna score. He'll literally just hang out there in the goal. Like he covers the whole thing. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna be really interested to see like what Desmond Watson's journey is, because I feel like there's gonna be teams out there that are like, bro, he can't play at that weight, but he can like move surprisingly good. So how much better could he move if he lost like 70, 80 pounds?
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
And then at that point, like, can you keep it off? But he's a fascinating player, man. He's funny.
It's just mind blowing to me how he put on weight every year in college. Every year.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's got some sort of a condition though, too, because how old is he? He's like 20.
Oh no, he's probably categorized as obese.
Yeah, there was something crazy I read about him, and I'm sure Kodiak covered this in his video too, but he was 375 pounds as a junior in high school, bro. To give you guys context, when I was a freshman in high school in my orientation, I was 4'11" and I was 99 pounds. This dude would have looked like he literally could have eaten me. But I mean, 375 as a high schooler, that's literally insane.
I know. But yeah, he could be the tush push stopper. Yeah, as Kodiak's saying, isn't the purpose of him to actually be 464 pounds so that he's just the tush push stopper?
But I don't know, because at 6'6", that's a problem, dude, because guys will just chop his legs out. Like, he's not gonna have much leverage. I wish he was like 5'9", 464.
Dude, can you pull up his 40-yard dash? Can we just watch it?
Oh, the video? Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but Judson Cake is saying that he ran a sub 6'4".
I think he ran a 5.93. And he had a 25-inch vert.
Yeah, pull up the combine highlights.
Is this it? Hold up. Oh yeah, this is it. This is on TikTok. This is funny, dude. All right, y'all see that?
Yeah.
Watch this boy move.
Dude, it's impressive, man. It's impressive.
Dude, 5'9", I mean, that's not that much slower than Tom Brady.
But yeah, okay, say he lost 150 pounds. Couldn't he be like a 10 RAS score guy?
No, honestly, dude, like he might run a 4.5. Like, that's insane to think about. He was, I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Victory lap saying dangle a donut on the screen.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, bro, he could lose 100. What's crazy about him is he could lose 150 pounds and still be a very good sized defensive lineman. Like at 315 is what he'd be playing at. Like he'd be Derrick Harmon if he lost 150 pounds in terms of like size and everything.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I'm pretty emotionally invested at this point on wanting to see this guy drafted.
Yeah. I mean, but this might break your heart and might break Kodiak's heart, but look at this headline, guys.
Oh man.
So he's already knowing like losing weight is his key to his NFL chances.
Dude, maybe he could be like the new Subway guy.
Oh yeah. Are they still like actually promoting that they help people lose weight?
No, because yeah, you know what happened to that. You know, Jared, right? But the other thing that I was gonna say is if he's drafted, like the whole NFL community should just come together and make sure that he gets voted into the Pro Bowl. Like, you know, you've seen that with like other sports of you know, like with the NHL, didn't they do that a few years ago with like trolling, getting a guy as an all-star? Like Andrew Wiggins was like trolled, voted a all-star game starter like a few years ago. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. I think that we gotta think of something creative. But if you had to take a guess, like, all right, let's say, like, I don't think he's going to be drafted, but you know, a team's going to sign him. Where do you feel like, man, that's the most like that would be the best fit, or that's the most likely organization that would sign Desmond Watson?
Oh man. Okay. Who are the organizations complaining the most about the tush push? Green Bay.
It's probably a lot of the NFC East teams, but I would assume as well, like a lot of the NFC teams.
Yeah, Judson K. Yeah, I think Green Bay's made a big fuss about banning that play this offseason.
Yeah.
I hope they don't. Do you want them to keep it or ban it?
No, of course not. But
yeah,
I think it's bullshit. I mean, my whole thing is like just because you can't stop it, don't ban it. And here's the thing, like they obviously use like the whole player safety thing, which there is some data backing it up, saying that like a lot of guys get hurt or like it puts a lot of toll on their bodies. But like my thing is don't be hypocritical, dude. This NFL, you talk about player safety. Oh, you can get guardian caps, but now like you incentivize there to be a kickoff, you know, because you want more kick returns, as if people don't get their shit lit up during a kickoff. So I don't like that like hypocrisy aspect of it. So no, I think, dude, figure out how to stop it. Teams have already gotten better at it.
Yeah.
You know,
and I just think it's a great team play, man. Like, yeah, aesthetically, whatever. Maybe the play doesn't look pretty, but it's a great team play. And you hear Jason Kelce talk about it, that it requires responsibility from all 11 guys. And if one guy's not doing his job, it messes up the play. I love the fact that it's a full team play. It requires everybody, man.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny how in the playoff game versus the Commanders, did they keep like committing the same penalty?
Yeah.
Like when they were doing the cush, just like, we're just going to keep doing this. It's the first time I've ever heard the ref be like, if they continue doing this, we're just going to award the team a score. I was like, I don't know you can do that. Because at the time I was like, dude, this is annoying, but it's really smart.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're just going to keep committing a penalty. Like we don't care.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's going to get banned though. But I think it would be stupid. But a lot of reports are like pointing to it being kind of inevitable. But I think it's bullshit. But dude, I feel like the Eagles would sign Desmond Watson. You know, and then he'd be a 10-sack guy somehow.
Dude, yeah, put him next to Jalen Carter and just have him go to work, man.
Just go eat.
I want that for him. I want him to get a Super Bowl ring. I want him to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I love it. But yeah, man, we've been going at it for an hour. David, thank you so much again for joining me, man, and giving us your thoughts on the top 5. What tell all the viewers, everybody that's watching, what do you got cooking in the hopper on both your Broncos and your Buffs channel?
Well, Buffs, we got a lot going on. Totally went dark side Dave on the Buffs retiring both Shador and Travis's number, which is awesome and deserved, but they're doing it at the spring game this weekend. I absolutely hate that. So check that out. But we got a lot of great visits and commits on the way with the transfer portal opening up. With the Broncos, maybe I'll still throw out a Nate Root Beer Atkins video later this week, saying I stand with root beer vaping, and we'll see what else comes up.
We gotta make t-shirts or something, man. We gotta figure something out.
Right.
That whole thing was funny. But yeah, guys, be sure to check out all of David's content, man. He's always coming out with some awesome stuff. Check out his Buffs channel, the Broncos stuff. Obviously, subscribe to him if you're not already, which I'm sure all of you guys are. And maybe catch him on Schedule 1, man. He's basically the kingpin now of his little
I need to do another stream.
that he's got cooking up.
Yeah, I'm cooking up some I think it's called Miracle Cake. My new strain, Miracle Cake or something like that. Yeah. It's meth that will turn you into an alien. So it's real cool.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That is wild. Well, cool, man. I like I said, appreciate it again. All you guys in the comments. You guys are all awesome. Victory Lap. Cohen Ryle is sorry if I said your name wrong. Judson K, Kodiak, of course, Andy, Eli Betts, everybody. If I missed you guys, thank you guys all so much. Y'all have a wonderful evening, man. And y'all take it easy. And until next video, y'all peace out.